Hi, everyone. This is Katie with Empowering Astrology, and I'm doing another weekly Facebook Live to get you into the astrology of this week. So, this is the astrology of August 26th through September 1st, 2019. And it's hard to believe that we're coming to the end of August. So if you're joining me live or if you're joining me on the replay, please let me know. How was your August? I mean, August, we were stepping out of eclipse season. Eclipse season was in July, of course. We were also in the energies of Leo. And Leo season was all about creativity, finding our expression, finding our identity, and making time for joy, which is, every sign in the zodiac, it kind of tells us what time it is, meaning like when the sun is in Leo, then it's time to, kind of naturally reach for and focus on those things that I was just mentioning. But now we're in Virgo season. So it's a time when, we're moving out of this idea of like sun and creativity and Leo and into the energies of the earth. Virgo is an earth sign. So we've gone from the energies of fire, Leo, into the energies of earth, Virgo. And earth energy, it takes the spark of life and it puts it into something, it brings it into manifestation. So, when the first fire sign, for instance, is Aries. Aries is then followed by Taurus in astrology. So that spark of life that you have with Aries, the first sign, then finds its form, its manifestation in Taurus, an earth sign. So we kind of see that happening again as we move from Leo to Virgo season. And I want to kind of more stress this idea of a sign as an energy. Because sometimes we can get a little over-identified with a sign. I might have pressed on some buttons a little bit when I was talking about Virgo season and this idea that Virgo, yes, Virgo is about work, Virgo is about projects, Virgo is about organization, but that's an energy. That's very vital and important energy that takes the creative vision of Leo and puts it into something, puts it into planning, puts it into form. So I know that, yes, Virgos, I know that you are more than just the sign of work and organization. But how do we, let's say all of us, those of us who are not Virgos, but what you do, that's the thing that we all need to remember, is that we all have 12 signs in our chart somewhere. So Virgo season, for instance, if you are a Scorpio like me, Virgo is your sign of friends and community. So Virgo season is when you're kind of reaching out to the world. You're maybe being of service to others. You're thinking about big picture. You're thinking about social networks and socializing. So, Virgo season is going to mean different things to different signs. Of course, if you are a Virgo, this is your birthday time. So happy birthday, Virgo. My mom's a Virgo. I love Virgos. Virgos are great. For me, Virgo is a very, like I said, very essential and vital energy that I think doesn't always get its due in astrology. Like Virgo, I feel like is the glue for a lot of things, especially here in the real world. So, as I record this, at the beginning of the week, we're coming, we are in Virgo season, but we're coming out of what's called a Leo New Moon season. So this Leo New Moon began on July 31st. It ends this Friday when we have another new moon. And so we're still kind of coming out of these Leo energies, even though the sun is already in Virgo. So that in mind, as we start this week, we're pulling back from the world a little bit. It's more about reflection. It's more about tying up loose ends from, let's say, a story that began back on July 31st with the Leo new moon. So, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you might kind of feel things are a little quiet. Yes, Patricia, Virgo is the bridge. Absolutely, 100%. It's Virgo connects us to the energies of what's called the sixth house in astrology. The sixth house is where we encounter real life, and it's where we have to make sure we show up every day. We gotta brush our teeth, eat our vegetables, make sure we're getting what needs to get done. Otherwise, life just kind of goes bloop, doesn't really happen. So if you're just kind of watching me on the live feed or even on the replay, like let me know, like how has your, let's say your Leo season been? How has your August been? Because we are coming to the end of August. It's hard to believe. So by the time, I think that once we get to the Mercury, for instance, is still in Leo right now. So this is another reason why we haven't quite been able to kind of really capture these Virgo energies, because we still got 1 foot in another sign right now. So on Wednesday, I think it's Wednesday, maybe it's Thursday. Let's look at my calendar. On I believe it's Wednesday. I'm trying to find, guys. No, Thursday. On Thursday, Mercury goes into Virgo. So I think once Mercury goes into Virgo, once we have the Virgo New Moon, it's time to kick off really kick off this Virgo season. This Virgo New Moon, it's making what's called a conjunction to Mars and Virgo. It's got a conjunction to Mars in Virgo, to Venus in Virgo. Mercury is also going to be in Virgo. It's picking up what's called a trine to Saturn in Capricorn. And it's also making what's called a trine to Uranus and Taurus. Now, that's a lot of fancy language, but what this means is that as we go into September, it's very much about making things happen. Earth energy, your Taurus, your Virgo, your Capricorn is earth energy. It means it's about manifestation. It's about making things happen. It's about building things. So I think that we really need to kind of get into September to kind of really start making things happen, making things build. I like that this new moon is conjunct Mars in the sense that it's a lot of motivation. It's a lot of motivation to start a project, to start an initiative. Mars kind of brings us into the energies of new beginnings. I'm just kind of checking in on the comments. Look, I'm just looking at your comment, Lori. Maybe you are a Virgo? That's what you are referring to. But yes, if you are a Virgo and this Virgo new moon, it's like you're entering the time of like, okay, well, what do you want? What do you want for this whole new year ahead of you? Because you're celebrating your birthday, Virgo. What do you want to build? What do you want to create? What sort of initiatives and new beginnings do you want to set in motion? For the rest of us, I'll start very quickly, let's say at Aries. If you are an Aries, this new moon is in what's called your sixth sign. So it's very much about what I've been talking about earlier on this video about the energies of Virgo, this idea of, this might be a time when you're really having to work, when you're really having to get organized and to plan and to put things into action, into motion, in very real and concrete ways. It's probably going to be a busy September for you, Aries. It's also a time, Aries, for you to focus on your health. This idea of how you're taking care of the body, because Virgo is a sign that helps you to really, get your checkups, go to the gym, make sure you're eating your vegetables, that kind of thing. So if you just to kind of move on to Taurus. If you are Taurus, this is helping you, this new moon, to connect to this idea of identity, creativity, and the self. So this is a time for Taurus for you to really, let loose a little bit. Maybe there's some, really connecting with the energies of fun and passion. As an aside, if you're Taurus and you are looking to start a family, this new moon is in what's called your fifth sign. So that is the sign of your area of your chart that's about children. So I don't know, maybe this is a good time to think about starting a family, if that's something, of course, that you are interested in. And so if you've got any creative projects, this is a good time, Taurus, going into September, to really focus on these creative projects. For Gemini, this is, Virgo forms what's called the foundation of your chart. So this new moon is about home and family, and it's about tending to your roots. And let's say maybe you're moving in the coming 4 weeks, or you're thinking about making a move right now, Gemini, or maybe it's more of a symbolic move. You're making changes in your home that's helping you to put some roots down and plant some seeds. So, I think with Mars right now, for, what's called the bottom of your chart, this is for Gemini, of course, there might be a lot of things happening in your home environment. So you might be really motivated to make some changes in your living situation. Home might just be kind of a noisy, busy, bustling area for you. But this new moon can sometimes, like as I said, coincide with a move or a change in home. Moving to Cancer, this new moon on August 30th is activating your sign of travel, education, communication, and information. It's a very, let's say, mental time. I mean, mental as in the mind. You're thinking about ideas, you're weighing choices, you're say you're going on short trips, you're going around about town. It's very much about the information is going to be a big, let's say, factor over the coming 4 weeks for you, Cancer. I think with Mars in your communication sign right now, Cancer, you might have a lot to say going into September. And maybe that's, Mars isn't the most diplomatic planet. It's not the most delicate planet. So maybe what you're saying has a little bit of bite to it. Maybe something that you've been needing to say for a long time, but haven't been able to. So just keep that in mind, Cancer, as you go into September. For Leo, for all my Leos watching, Virgo is your money sign, one of your money signs, at least. So this new moon is a good time to set initiatives to get what you need on a material level, whether it's focusing on how you earn a living, the salary you draw, the resources that you gather. So you might be working a little bit harder in September in order to kind of get your material life situated. So that's for Leo. So moving on to Virgo, as I was saying earlier, this is a new beginning for you, Virgo. Happy birthday. If your birthday is on the new moon or quite close, so if you were born on the 29th, the 30th, the 31st, this is going to be even a bigger new year for you. So I think for Virgo, I'd say as you go into the new moon, it's a good idea to maybe take a few moments and sit down and think about what you want to manifest and create in the new year. So I mentioned this already earlier in our video today. This new moon has a lot of earth energy in it. It's got the Saturn in Capricorn. It's got the Uranus in Taurus. It's got, I believe, 3 or 4 planets in Virgo. So you've got this idea that it really is about manifestation in the coming months, in the coming years. So be very clear about what you want to create in this new year. So again, happy birthday, Virgo. This new moon, new beginnings for you. Going into not Virgo, Libra. So Libra, Virgo represents what's called your last sign. So a new moon, the Virgo new moon always can say precedes your birthday. It's a time when you're coming to the end of a personal year. You're thinking, you're reflecting, you're retreating, and you're pulling back from the world. It might be a time when you're feeling a little removed, a little quiet, a little, let's say, even tired. Sometimes this might be a time when you need to focus on your spiritual health as much as maybe you're focusing on the physical side. of Virgo things. So if a Libra, this is kind of a natural time for you to also, let's say, let things go. Like I said, Virgo represents your last sign. So there's this idea that there's things that you can't take with you into your next year. As you start to come up to your next birthday, which is going to be in less than a month, or more, there's things that you don't want to bring with you into the next year. So what do you want to let go of? You can use this new moon on Friday, August 30th, to let things go. If you are a Scorpio, as I mentioned earlier, for Virgo, for Scorpio, it's about social networks. It's about groups. It's about friends. So this is a time for you to really make an effort to connect with the people that you call your friends. Or if you're feeling like maybe you need some friends, how will you use the new moon to reach out to people, to, let's say, join a club or join some sort of social thing, can't think of the word, where you are, let's say, meeting new people and meeting people who have, let's say, similar interests. So it's a time for friendships for Scorpio. It's also a time, I think, with this new moon is really helping you to think about the future. This is what's called your 11th sign, Scorpio. So Virgo helps you to look ahead, to, let's say, think about the plans for the future. What do you need to kind of organize and situate in order to start to prepare for your coming new year? I mean, I know we're a little bit ahead of the game for Scorpio having a birthday, but the end of October and Scorpio season is going to be here faster than we realize. If you're a Sagittarius, Virgo represents your career sign. So you are at the time in your, let's say, personal clock, your personal chart, where the sun is at the highest. So this is about you having being out there in the world, being more visible. It might be a time when you're really working hard to achieve some sort of career goal or ambition. Responsibility is also key right now. You're at a little bit of a career peak right now, Sagittarius, because now that Mars is in your career sign of Virgo. So you might be working a lot into September. I would really use this Mars energy to your advantage, because Mars is very self-directed, it's very motivated. So if there's something that you really want to achieve on a professional level or on a career level, really use this new moon going into September to get out there, have a new beginning in your career. You might, if you're a Sagittarius, this might be a time when you're naturally making a job change or getting a new career or even getting a promotion. So yeah, use this time wisely, Sagittarius, especially now that Jupiter is direct. So you're no longer kind of in that retrograde period that you were from April until just mid-August. Going for the sign of Capricorn, Virgo represents. It's a little bit intangible in the sense that Virgo represents your sign of beliefs, like how you see the world. So there is an educational component to this new moon as you go into into September, into the new month. But this idea of like what's really shaping how you see yourself and how you see the world. Is it education? Is it something else that's happened? Is it travel? You might be traveling a lot going into September. Some of that travel might be to other countries or long distances, but you also might be thinking about themes of truth and faith as you go into September. So this is for Capricorn. Capricorn's had a little bit of a rough year. I think Capricorn and Gemini, and I've mentioned this on previous Facebook Live videos, and these are two signs that I just kind of want to give a little bit more of a hug because it has been a little bit of a hard year for those two signs. And I think Capricorn, you've been through a lot this year, and so you might be thinking about big things like, what does it all mean? Do I still have faith? Do I still believe? What's my truth? So that's something to kind of keep in mind, Capricorn, as you go into September. Of course, like, don't lose faith, don't lose hope. I know that you've had to, let's say, Capricorn, it's been like very physical time for you, or like a very draining time, potentially. Not for all Capricorns. Maybe if you are listening and you're Capricorn, it's been fine for you. And if you have any questions while we're going through the signs, if you're listening, please ask me a question. Let me know how your August has been. Let me know if you have any questions about the astrology, any questions about September, because we are less than a week away from September 1st at this point. Moving on to Aquarius. So Aquarius, Virgo it connects you to a lot of deeper emotions. It connects you to themes around intimacy and connection and safety and vulnerability. So this new moon is a time for you to look at your, let's say, psychological health, your emotional health. It might mean that you're poking into these deeper themes, these deeper emotional themes, looking at stuff that's buried with this new moon. So if you need to do some deep personal digging, use this new moon to kind of focus on like I said, your psychological health. So really prioritizing that going into September. I will say that Virgo, and this is for Aquarius, this is also one of your money signs. And so you might be looking at, let's say, themes around finance, wealth, debt, spending, do I have enough, kind of creating this idea of like being really motivated to, let's say, get your finances in order going into September with this new moon. Finally, Pisces. This new moon is in your relationship sign. So yes, Virgo is your relationship sign, Pisces. So this new moon represents a time when you're naturally being, let's say, motivated to make a connection to another person. Now, this, of course, can be romantic. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, but a sign's relationship sign. So this is for everybody. Every sign has a relationship sign. And it's a sign where you have to learn to negotiate and to connect with other people and listen to what somebody else's needs are versus your own. I mean, this kind of natural give and take in relationships. So, Pisces is a time when you're kind of naturally having to open up to other people. So if you are in a relationship, a serious partnership, this is a time for you to kind of, let's say, naturally renew yourself. You naturally renew your relationships, refocus on that. What does my partner need? What does my mate need? What is my, whatever your kind of serious connection is. And also with Mars there, it might be a time when you're having to maybe put out some relationship fires, because like I said, Mars is not always the most delicate, and what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't always, it's a little bit more self-motivated. It doesn't want to necessarily negotiate and to compromise. So you might be having to deal with something with somebody else. It could be in a, like I said, a romantic relationship, but also in how you interact with people. Just checking in on the comments. Hi, Leah. Hello from Brooklyn to Australia. Like I said, always like to connect with my Australia clients because some of you guys are some of my very first clients. So Australia has a very particular place in my heart, even though I've never been, and a very particular place in the, let's say, the heart of my business, because as I said, that you're some of my earliest clients. So yes, hi, Leslie, also another familiar face, and Bonnie is also another familiar face. So that's the new moon that we're going to have on Friday. I think, like I said, I think it might be a little bit quiet this week. I know here in the United States, it's the end of the summer, end of, let's say, people taking vacations, and we have a holiday weekend coming up. So it's going to be a quiet week in general. I think once Mercury goes into Virgo on the 29th, which is Thursday, followed by the new moon on Friday. I think there's going to be a little bit of an energy shift for the weekend. Oh yeah, hi Joanne, another Aussie there too. So yeah, and also, I'm teaching a webinar on August 29th, and this idea is that, I did a webinar at the beginning of the year on the astrology of 2019. So we talked a lot about, big, broad overview stuff. I talked about, what 2019 was going to be for each sign, but here we are. We've got 4 more months left in the year. So it's hard to believe that 2019 we're getting to that last stretch. So I wanted to give people a refresh. What can we expect from, let's say, September, October, November, and December? And what does that mean for each sign? So I will be looking sign by sign. What are the major themes for, September through December? And I wanted to also look at what the new and the full moons mean for each sign. The reason I talk so much about the new and full moons is because they set the pace and the rhythm for our lives. We have a new moon. 2 weeks later, we have a full moon. 2 weeks later, we have a new moon. This new moon, every new moon creates a new container. It kind of points us towards a very particular part of our life, depending on what sign we are, both sun and rising sign. This is me kind of getting on a little bit of a tangent for a moment, but you have 2 clocks. You have 2 personal clocks. You have, let's say, the clock of your sun sign. So I'm a Scorpio, so I've got Scorpio time that my life runs on, which is what's called Mars ruled. So my life, it was running on Mars time. And then I'm Sagittarius rising. So then my chart's running on Jupiter time, because Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. So you have these 2 clocks, and they're kind of setting these 2 rhythms and 2 paces of your life. And so that's why I always say, pay attention if you do have your rising sign. Look it up, because it's going, if you can get it, of course. So I know not every country records it officially, but it gives you this idea of like, what time is it in my life? One of the times in your life. So that's why I'm, in my webinar on Thursday, I am looking at the new and the full moons. What sort of time is it for your sun sign and also your rising sign? But we do have, let's say, Saturn's going to turn direct in September. I believe it's September 14th, if I'm remembering, or is it September 18th? September 18th, it turns direct at 13 degrees of Capricorn. So September, we've got a big check-in with Saturn. How are we doing our Saturn work? How are we showing up? How are we tending to our responsibilities? How are we knowing what's right and wrong? Because Saturn is one of those planets that kind of shows us, the kind of consequences of our choices and the consequences of our actions. And Saturn is teaching us to master life. So we do have a big check-in with Saturn in September. Speaking of Capricorn, Jupiter will switch signs and go into Capricorn in December. So it's another thing I'm going to be talking about in my webinar. And I do want to give a sneak preview of 2020. We do have Saturn is going to go into Aquarius in March of 2020. We have what's called the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, which happens every 40 years. It's happening this coming January. So what does that mean? What does that mean for each sign? So lots of things to talk about. I'm just checking in on the comments. I think I'm understanding your question, Leah. So if your sun sign is opposite your rising sign, so let's say you're a Virgo and you have Pisces rising, this means you were born at sunset, at or just about sunset. And so your life is always going to have these, let's say, these contrasts, these opposites. Can be a little confusing, because you'll read for one horoscope. Let's say you read for Virgo and it's saying one thing, and then let's say it's all about new beginnings and about the self, and then you'll read for Pisces, your rising sign, and then you're like, oh, it's all about relationships. It's all about cooperation. So your life is going to always have this dynamic to you if you're born at sunset. So I do understand how confusing it is. I mean, for me, I'm not born at sunset. I'm born, not at sunrise, but like, let's say a couple of hours after sunrise. And so just when I'm finishing one transit, meaning it's all about endings, it's now time for new beginnings. And then, I read, I write, because I write horoscopes, and then I do the thing for Sagittarius, and it's like it's a time for ending. So it's like just as I'm wrapping up one story, it's like it continues. So I know sometimes, like for me, because it's not quite the opposite thing for you, Leah, and for other people, but I get it. Christine was talking about she feels the new moon more than the full moon. Yeah, I mean, everybody is going to feel the moon a little differently. I know that if you are born on a full moon, and quick pro tip, if your moon sign is the opposite sign of your sun sign, it means you're born on a full moon. I know, maybe I just blew your mind. I don't know. So maybe if you're born on a new moon, you feel the energies of a new moon more readily. Maybe if you're born on a full moon, you really do connect with the energies of the full moon. It really does depend on your chart. You might see how the moon is a very powerful influence in the chart, and it's a very powerful influence in astrology. And I think sometimes the moon doesn't always get its full due in astrology. And I, be on my soapbox for a moment. I feel like sometimes the moon gets a little bit relegated to second class. It's like sun and then the moon. But the way that I see it, the sun and the moon are consorts. They are equals. They just serve different energy polarities. I see a Virgo with Aries rising. That's two different. If you have sun and if, let's say, Allison, you're talking about how you are a sun in Libra and you have Libra rising, that means you were born at sunrise. I don't know. These are just fun little pro tips. Oh, my mom is on this Facebook Live. Hi, Mom. My mom's a Virgo. She knows all about being a Virgo, and she taught me. So I think that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. I wanted to use this time to connect with you all and to teach you about, or at least share with you what's coming up for the astrology this week, August 26th through September 1st, 2019. And also talk about Mercury going into Virgo, which I think is going to really kind of give us a little push. And then once we go into the Virgo New Moon on Friday, I think we're really going to step into this new season. I also, of course, wanted to share that I have this webinar. The link is in the notes for this Facebook Live. So you can check out this webinar more. It's going to be at 7:30 p.m. on Thursday, August 29th. If you can't make the live webinar, you can still register. You'll get the video replay, you'll get the MP3, and you'll also get the slides. Also, you'll also be able to ask me questions after the webinar. So there's that. And follow me on Instagram, Empowering Astrology. I'm on Twitter. Also in the notes for this Facebook Live, you can sign up for my newsletter. I do put out a weekly newsletter every Monday, the best that I can. And of course, you can always book a consultation with me if you want to get more information about how certain things are happening in your life, why certain things are happening in your life. I think that I approach astrology a little differently in the sense that I use astrology as a map and a guide, and also this idea of a clock as well. So each and every one of you came into this life with an instruction manual, and that's your natal chart, that's your birth chart. And when you know how to read that chart, you're like, okay, which way is north, which way is south. It kind of tells you about you, but also how can you, let's say, live your best life. And everybody is also learning how to grow and to evolve through their astrology. And so that's also the type of approach that I take in my work, is like, how can you learn and grow in consciousness? So this is why I talk about signs, and I talk about energy and what we're learning from these signs, because they are really powerful teachers. And astrology, the zodiac, is the wheel of life, and it's everything that happens in life happens somewhere in one of the zodiac signs. So it's a powerful way for us to naturally align ourselves with the seasons, our personal seasons, the seasons around us, so that we can just naturally be in harmony and in flow with things. So I'm just checking in on the comments. Hello, yes, hello from New York. So thank you everybody for saying hi and stopping in. Hi, Mom. I see, like I said, my mom's here. And till the next time, bye.